Hi friends, excuse my appearance, but I'm taking a break from spring cleaning to share with you a few tips on how to get through your spring cleaning extravaganza before heading into the new year with a clean home. Obviously, this isn't our favorite things to do, usually. Even though I like taking care of the home, massive cleaning like this is a huge undertaking. Even in a small apartment. Oh, we live in Chicago and it's just a one bedroom, and it can be a lot of work. I'm on day 2, and it's probably going to take 3. So, here are a few top tips of mine that'll help you get through your spring cleaning experience. First of all, tip 1 is to start from the up and work your way down. What does that mean? Clean your ceiling fans, clean the upper parts of your windows, and work your way down to the floor. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you kind of clean the lower part of your room, and then you work your way up to the ceiling fans, you're going to be wiping dust onto what you've already cleaned. And that's going to make your job a lot harder because you're going to be cleaning certain areas twice. So save yourself some time and work from the up down. Tip number 2. Just like you are cleaning up to down, clean from your furthest room back to your front door or back door. Obviously, it's a little tricky depending on what your house is like. If you have a front and back door, obviously you'll need to pick one. If you're in an apartment like we are, we obviously have one entryway. So I'm going to work my way from our back bedroom, through the hallway and the bathroom, to the living room / dining room, and the kitchen out to the front door. Now there's a few reasons why you do this. It's similar to the reason why you work up to down. You don't want to work towards in the front, then have to drag the dirt from your back rooms to the front rooms you've already cleaned. Obviously you're kind of moving to the back or front door and kind of taking out the trash. There's also some symbolism in this that you may or may not believe, but if you think about the way you're supposed to sage your house, if you're the type of person to do that, you're supposed to sage your house from the back furthest room from the entryway to the entryway, because you're almost like chasing those bad demons out of your apartment with the sage. And it's kind of the same philosophy when it comes to cleaning. Even if you don't believe in that sort of thing, it's kind of chasing out that bad mojo, the actual unhealthy dirt and debris of our daily lives, and kind of chasing it out the door. Our next tip is create a central location for displaced goods. A lot of words, I know. But what I do, obviously the best way to clean is to get into a routine because you'll get through it a lot quicker. But sometimes things will throw off that routine. Like if, say you're cleaning your bedroom and you find something that belongs in a certain specific spot in the living room, but you haven't cleaned the living room yet. Don't worry about putting it in the place it needs to go. Just make sure it gets to a certain location, depending on how big your house is. For us, we were using our dining room table, which is just a small little table. Now, if you have a bigger house, you might want to have a few locations, like on a first or second floor. But it's all up to you. Essentially what that space works for me, is as I'm going through the areas and cleaning them, I'll take items that are supposed to be in different locations and put them on that one table. That table will eventually be the last thing I clean, usually in the entire apartment. When I lived in my studio, I did a dining room table as well, which was almost in the center of the studio. Everything gathered there. Now, once I cleaned everything else, I would get to that table and start dispersing those items and putting them back into the clean spaces where they belonged. And then eventually I would clean that table itself. This kind of lets you stick to your routine and not breaking your routine by getting into the nitty-gritty of beautification and the places where things need to be. My next tip is similar to the last one, having a central location for all the things that need to go back to different locations. Having a centralized location when it comes to your cleaning supplies, your utensils, your tools, anything else you might be working with when it comes to deep spring cleaning, or even decorating. This is also a good tip when it comes to massive home decor, like for Christmas or other major holidays you might celebrate. What this means is having a location for, let's say, your cleansing wipes, your hammers if you're hanging things. If you are doing a little bit more decor-oriented sort of things, having your double-sided tape, your scissors, having a centralized location for this will prevent you from having to go on massive searches for these tools and utensils when you need them. Now on to pets. As you know, I have a little blue dog named Sable who can kind of get in the way of cleaning because she's very much a very attention-seeking dog. One of the best things you can do if you have a dog who is trained to do this is have a little location that kind of is clean and you're kind of not touching that spot, or maybe you've cleaned it beforehand so it's fresh and ready to go. Sometimes animals, depending on what their species is and their personality, can get very chaotic when you're cleaning. Sable is one of those dogs. She wants all the attention, and when she sees it on other things, she kind of is all up in your business and kind of gets in the way. And that can be a safety hazard if you're working with things that could fall over, or if you're spraying the house for bugs for the coming spring and summer. You don't want those chemicals being that close to the dog. In certain situations, if you're working with chemicals, you may want to have someone take them out of the home, or you might want them to visit a relative or a friend while you're doing a deep cleaning like that. Otherwise, if they'll stay on a chair or a certain location without being cooped up, that's a perfect solution. Make sure they kind of stay in that area, give them their favorite toys. If that's not something your dog will do, you may have to put them in a small little kennel. We have one for Sable that we put her in situations where it's necessary, such as cleaning. If it's a safety hazard for her, we make sure she's in there. And her kennel faces us, so she knows we're still there. We haven't left her. She doesn't feel like she's being displaced or she's being left alone. Another tip is to keep a to-do list. Obviously, what is there to do when you're cleaning? You might be surprised. Some to-do lists I've been working on as I'm going through cleaning the apartment are little things that take a lot of time that I'm just not going to be doing in that moment. Like, there's a curtain in our bedroom that I'm going to have to sew up and hem up and fix it up a little bit. I'm not going to do that in the midst of spring cleaning. So I'm taking a few notes of things to do later on, like hem up that curtain. Once I make it into the living room, there's a few areas where I really need to touch up the paint, and we don't have that paint right now. So I'll make sure I go out and get that sooner rather than later, but keeping that note reminds me that that is something I still need to do. Another tip is to work in chunks. My goal, as you can Another tip is to work in chunks. As I said earlier, I'm kind of going on 3 days with this spring cleaning, which sounds ridiculous for a small apartment, but you would be surprised at how much there is to do, especially when you're going in depth. A few weeks ago, maybe it might have been a week, maybe two, Artega and I went through the closets and deep cleaned those and switched out our winter attire for our spring. We also dug out the air conditioners and put them in an area where we can reach them when we need them sooner. So you can kind of consider that part of the spring cleaning. On day one, recently, I kind of worked on the bedroom, the hallway, and the living room. Part of the living room, because it's sort of big. And got that all done. Today, I finished up the living room, did a little bit of the dining room, and started to slightly delve into the kitchen before I just got exhausted. And I also had to make dinner, so I'm holding off till tomorrow to finish things up, which will be finishing the kitchen, the bathroom, and hopefully running around here and getting a few decor-related cleaning sorted out. Another idea, one that I didn't follow myself, but looking back I should have, is if you plan on doing some spring cleaning in advance and you work with a meal plan, or even if you don't work with a meal plan, make sure you have some quick go-to foods that you can serve that day if you're predominantly the one who cooks in the family. Or you might want to have some carry-out food, have Uber Eats deliver your food, because it's going to be really complicated when you're devoting your entire day to cleaning and then you also have to make dinner. So easy foods like casseroles, things you can just heat up, takeout, are way better options than what I've been doing the past few days, which is making an actual meal. So try to work that into your schedule so that you will not have as hard of a time as I have. My next tip is to work with your health. Just like I said, make sure you schedule in advance with food, and also making sure you break things down. If you're someone with a health concern, that doing a lot of this manual labor will harm you in some way, or make it hard for you to go to work Monday, or anything along those lines, make sure you spread things out. I personally have an issue with my spine that I've had to deal with for quite some time, so I can sometimes get more tired doing simpler tasks that might not make the average person tired. So I always have to consider that. If I push myself a little too far, because I know my limit and I've learned it over the years, I've been dealing with this spine issue since my sophomore year of high school, so I've learned. So make sure you kind of listen to your body and what you need, and hold off if you have to. Once again, going back to scheduling, if you have a partner like I do, Artega, and you're getting into some cleaning, unfortunately, he's not always the most cleanliest person, so sometimes getting him out of the house is the best thing I can do to get the job done. But with deep cleaning like this, I really need help moving the furniture around. And a lot of this stuff here is also his. So to deep clean, I have to delve into his stuff as well, and I don't feel okay doing that without his consent or him here to do that portion of the work. So sometimes you might have to work out a schedule with your partner or roommate or anybody else who lives with you to really get the deep cleaning done. That was my tips for today, guys. I actually have to get back to doing a little bit of spring cleaning for the evening before I finally finish up tomorrow, hopefully. Obviously, it's getting a little dark out, and we live in an apartment, so we can't be making loud noises later in the evening. So I do have to get a few things done, but I just wanted to stop in here and give you some quick advice on spring cleaning for the season. And make sure you like this video, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye!